Okay, so I hadn't started the recording, so I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of start a little bit over. One of the things that we get a lot of in the relocation department is rental finding assistance. Have you guys talked to a lot of people that want to rent? Have they asked you to help them find a rental?
Yes.
Yeah. So we have gone ahead and recreated a nice rental finding rental guide. Okay. I'm making the final changes today, and then that will go up on the website. I'll send it out to all the agents. You'll get a copy of it. And you're welcome to use it, send it out. It'll be in a PDF version. You can print it, you can hand it out to see people. But it's always so hard to know how to help, those clients that just want to rent, right? So I did want to cover this first. It is the rental guide. It is 6 pages long. It has a lot of good information in it. It talks about, finding and renting a home before you rent, things to consider. I'm going to neutralize this, so we'll just say info at. It has rental websites, apartment websites. It has click here. It's going to be an interactive document, so all these will be live links. It'll click here. It will give you area information, so it links them to the map of the USA, and they click on Utah and they can go into the detailed information. It shows schools, it shows hospitals, it shows all the information for Utah in the various counties. Okay. Then we talk about paid rental finding services. Okay, so that is in there. If someone asks you about it, you can just call me and ask. But we charge a fee on my team for agents to take them and tour properties and assist them with their lease. We only commit to 1 day of that, which is 4 to 6 hours. And then at that point, they should know how to find their own rental, right? So if they're new to it, most people won't want to pay for the service. But it's there. And it is a way for you to make some extra income if they need that deep level of service. So call me on that if that comes up. And then it's evaluating your rental. It says, don't expect to be able to negotiate rents or fees. Know who you're leasing from. Have your documentation ready. So it goes through all the documents that they need. And be prepared to act fast in a market that's kind of busy. Rentals are tough to come by in some areas, in some cases, and especially in certain price points. It talks about the Fair Housing Act, how we follow those rules. It also talks about your credit scores, your credit check reports and where to get those. And then it tells you all the things that are usually required. And it also encourages them to do a renter resume, and especially if you have a pet, to do a pet resume. So it kind of walks them through that process. So that's about as much as we could come up with to help a renter get into a rental. And so we've also created this for you. So that's one thing you can use for people who are looking to rent. Okay. And you're still offering a pretty good service. I mean, that's a lot of information to provide them. So there's that. The second option.
Probably you could send that to the marketing department and they could brand it for you, right?
I suppose, yeah, you could do that. I don't know if they'll do that on each individual basis. Right now, it's just a general info at, but they could, I suppose. I'd have to ask. Let me just put it that way. Okay, if they're going to do that for every agent in the company, okay. So we try to neutralize it and make sure that, but yeah, if you wanted to have your information on the bottom, I guess that would be what you have to do.
Well, with it being interactive, when they get it in their email, I just assumed that you had a way to put our information on, because unless that's on there, it's not much value to me.
Okay, great point. Yeah, you certainly don't have to use it. It's information that we provide, and we are not after, that, we're not trying to grab those clients. So that's a good point. I'll see if we can make it interactive. Probably have to be a PowerPoint situation or something where they can go in and change that. But that's a great point. So we'll see if we can do that for you. Okay. All right. So the other option is a program called Home Partners of America. So the only thing you really need to write down today is homepartners.com. That website will take you to everything you need to know. So I am going to try to get this to work from this distance.
You have the mouse.
And the mouse. So I'm going to start with the future residents. So in order for a person who's interested in this program to participate, they would need to fill out an application. Their credit score needs to be 620 or above. They need to make $40,000 or more per household. And the application fee is $75. There is a basic pre-qualification questionnaire. If you go in and sign up as an agent, you'll get a dashboard in Home Partners. And this information is in there. I can hand it out if you want. But the basic questions are the 40,000, make sure 620 or better. And make sure they understand that there is a fee to apply. Okay,
Is that handout HB?
Yeah.
Yes, right? Okay,
this is just a pre-qualification questionnaires. It's pretty basic, but. So the first question, does your household make a minimum gross income of 40,000 a year? Does any household member have an open or unsatisfied Chapter 7 bankruptcy? Has any household member that will contribute to monthly rent had an order of eviction granted against them within the last 5 years or filed against them within the last 12 months? Does any household member contributing to monthly rent have an unsatisfied residential rental collection exceeding $250 that originated within the last 3 years? Are any household members on an OFAC sanctions list, including the specialty designation, nationals and blocked persons list, or a registered sex offender or sexual predator, or otherwise subject to reporting requirements of any state, territorial, federal sex offender registry? And number 6, has the household member had a felony conviction within the last 6 years? Lesser time may be considered if required by applicable law. So those are the basic questions. So Home Partners is interested in renting to qualified renters too. Okay. So if you're going to participate in this program, this isn't for someone who skips out on rent, or, like they have really terrible credit and they don't make their payments. Okay. So that's not what this program is for. This program is for people who want time to consider purchasing, who want to wait for the interest rates to change. They might want to get to know an area, make sure they want to be there long term. Maybe they just want to rent, but they want to live in a certain school district. They can't find anything where they want to be, but they know the area they want to be in. This is a great program for people that are qualified. If they're not qualified, the people won't like the program. Okay. And they won't qualify. So that's in general. But there's a lot of reasons why someone would want to use this. And the people that do use it, that qualify for it, love it. So I think, I actually think what I wanted to start with was, right here, explore our markets.
Hey, Heather.
Yeah.
So any of the mouse you could mute everyone so that they can. It's up to you.
Oh, where do I do that?
On Zoom. So you're not getting.
You want to do it for me?
Usually auto does it.
Oh, right here. You.
No, that's you.
Oh.
I can't see your mouse. But let's do it. That's okay.
All right.
Don't worry about it.
Heather,
Yeah.
I did want to just pass one thing along about the pre-qualification. I
Yeah.
know it says that they kind of won't work with a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, but my understanding is they will work with a Chapter 13.
Okay, thank you. I'm glad Becky's on here. She's the one that's used the program the most in the company, Becky Rodriguez. And she's had a lot of success with it. She's actually kind of promoting it with her Spirit and stuff because it's a great program. Cool. So she did say that I could give you her name. And if you had questions or, concerns, you could talk to her or me. Where do I do that? Here? No. Oh, well, forget it. Okay, I don't care. You guys can talk and make noise. Okay, so here's the different areas where Home Partners is offered. And we're looking for Salt Lake City. Let me know if I miss it. There it is. So it doesn't go clear up to Logan, but this is kind of the area. It does go out to Tooele. It goes down to Utah County, Spanish Fork. So it goes all the way down here. So you can see where the homes are that they cover. Up to about Ogden, it looks like, or Brigham City or so. Okay. So how it works is they take properties that are listed on the MLS for sale. And let's pick this one. In Harriman. I have a cute gal that I used to work with that called it Harry Man. So I almost always call it that now. I thought it was really cute. All right, so the list price of this property is 540,000, 4 beds, 3 baths, 2,600 or 2,500 square feet. The monthly rent on this is listed at 3,080. The rent is gonna be market rent, but it'll be upper market rent. Why is that, do you think?
Some of the money's going towards their purchase. Or no?
Does it help them like qualify, so when they do purchase, they can see that they can maintain that payment?
It is, so if you think about it, if you have a house that's been leased and leased and leased and leased and leased,
Right.
okay?
Where's that?
Huh?
I said, where's it out?
It wears it out. Yeah, I mean, these are, if there's just, if it's a lease, but not a purchase option. Then it might be, these homes are gonna be higher quality homes. Okay, you're gonna be picking the home that you're gonna lease. You're gonna be picking your area. You're gonna go see, you're gonna choose it. You're gonna know what the rent's gonna be before you go. This is on every listing. They have this. You can put the address in to find the property if you're interested. But anything that's listed on the MLS will be on here. And then you as an agent need to familiarize yourself with the criteria of a home that they will purchase. And we'll go through that and where to find that, okay? But this is what I tell people, it's gonna be market rent rate, but it's gonna be the high end of the rent rate. Because you're picking the home. This is a home that's for sale. It's gonna typically be in better condition. You're the first person to rent it, that kind of thing. So I wanted to give you a heads up on that. And then I'm gonna go here because it has really good resources for future residents. I think it's in how it works. Price breakdown, I like this one. Nope, I don't like that one. Here we go, process overview. See if you pre-qualify, basic applicant criteria, income verification documents. Find an eligible home. Basic home property criteria. So this is a whole PowerPoint already built in here for you to go through and look at all the different things that are required. And this is the one that's later. This is after you find the house and stuff. So I'm gonna go back. I'm sorry. I had it all worked out. And like I said, when you go, this mouse is hard to use right now. Okay, so we're gonna go down here a little bit farther. Here we go. Okay, this is the one I wanted. Lease purchase program. This walks through from the home participant, okay, the person that would be renting the home. And it goes through all of the different things on how it works. Apply for approval, then you use your agent to find a home. Then home partners will go in and buy the home. They pay cash for the home. They will rent for up to a year. They can buy the home at any time if the rent rates all of a sudden went down to 3.5% somehow or something, and they decide they want to buy it. They can buy it any time. They'll know what the purchase price is. The purchase price is going to include the cost to close. Okay. And there's the tenant that's in the home can actually make requests for repairs and things that they want done, or let's say the carpet's kind of worn out and they want new carpet. If they request that and home partners approves it, that does go onto the purchase price. Okay, they're not getting it for free. It's not a freebie. So that's important to know. Yes.
So you, like, as an agent, do you negotiate this like a normal deal? Like if you go in and you ask for seller concessions and everything and act like that?
So you don't actually set the terms of the offer. So what you're gonna do is find the home, make sure it's a qualified home. We can go through all that, or you can just look at it online, but it's basically, it can't be behind a business, If it's in an HOA, you better make sure it follows all the guidelines. They won't look at condominiums. They're not gonna buy a condo, but they would look at a townhouse, but there's HOA guidelines that you have to make sure are clear. And so the property will qualify. So townhomes are single family home within the areas that, are in the map. And then what you do is you provide a market analysis on the property with your recommendations. And, the home, you'll have to take pictures and inside pictures yourself. They won't accept the pictures that are online. You send all that in, and Becky and I were just talking this morning, I was just asking timing and stuff. She said, if I showed someone a house today, and I got all that in, I would have a response this afternoon. I'd have an offer in hand this afternoon. If all that stuff's followed and you do everything they say. She said, I've never had a problem with response times. I've never had a follow-up multiple times with someone. She said they're very, very, very responsive, but they'll set the price based on the information you submit. Okay. And I'm sure they have all kinds of algorithms in the background doing all this stuff, right? So, so you can give your recommendations and then they will make the offer.
And do you get paid a normal commission or?
Whatever the BAC is what you get paid.
BAC is?
Mhm. So the important thing to note here, so you take your, you take the tenant out to see properties, right? You submit the stuff to Home Partners. Who now is your client?
Home Partners.
Home Partners. Your fiduciary duty is to Home Partners. At that point, the tenant is not involved in the process. They'll be the tenant at the end of the deal. So you don't take them to the inspection, you don't go through the inspections with them. That is now owned by Home Partners. Okay, they're gonna make sure the house is safe. They're gonna negotiate those repairs. They're gonna do what they need to do. That's your part. That's your client now.
So you're representing the seller?
No,
No, you're
buyer
representing,
is Home Partners.
the buyer will be Home Partners.
Okay.
Yeah, rather than your renter.
Yeah.
AKA client.
So it gets, that's the one confusion we want to make sure we clear up, that you take out the tenant. The buyer is Home Partners, that's then your client. So you can keep them updated, the status of things, of course, but you're not to like. They don't go to the home inspection, they don't do any of that stuff like you would with your normal buyer, okay? So,
Can you represent both?
a seller and a buyer. I haven't heard can't, but like if it's on your listing and you enroll someone into the Home Partners program.
Heather?
Yeah.
One thing I just want to pass on to, this is all okay, let me back up. If anyone is interested in working for Home Partners, they have a whole bunch of videos. And you do have to train before you can start working for them. So a lot of this is explained in those videos, if that's helpful.
Curious, you know the answer to that question? Just curious. I don't know.
I mean, we are.
I mean-
at base camp.
Yeah, base camp. Well, I mean, this is just a tool to put in your toolbox, right? It is up to you to fully explore and train if it's something you're interested in. I can see so many ways to use this to create business. And outside the box thinking around deals and transactions and that kind of thing. But this is just so detailed. And the client, your tenant, I think they call them the resident. The resident will have access to all this information before they even apply. This is on the public website. So you can just refer them here, find out more about the program. Let us know what your questions are. It even breaks down the purchase price, how that works. I mentioned that your closing costs. So, Home Partners is paying cash, so you're not gonna see all the lender fees and stuff, but they're gonna have the closing costs on here. Make ready and owner work. The owner work, I believe is the part where the resident makes a request for something. If it's approved, that gets added on to the total purchase price. So for 1 year, they would have the total purchase price, the total cost. I thought, okay, each year the price increases by 3 to 5% depending on the market. So if you're in a market that increased 20%, it's a pretty good purchase. I'd probably buy it. If you're in a market that's decreasing, what does that do for that person? Do they have to buy the home?
No. So Home Partners won't obviously reduce it for like in the market like we're in right now.
Nope.
They'll still buy it at whatever, I guess, market value, but
Mhm.
the values.
Value set, the price increases are set, your rent rate is set, the rent increase every year is set. Okay, so it's not negotiable, that part's not negotiable. So it's really important that you familiarize yourself, that your resident familiarizes themselves with the program to make sure that they don't get. What the house closed at 205 and my price is 215, you know, make sure they understand it. That they have all that information here for them. This is for them,
Purchase. Got it.
okay? This talks about the property management group for Pathlight, I almost said Porchlight, Pathlight. Who manages the property. It talks about if you want to purchase the property, it has the process in there for that. You can renew the lease. You can move out. You are on a 1-year lease minimum when you go through this program. But it's all this is outlined before they even have to go in and see if they qualify, right? Before they even apply. So if it were me and I was gonna do this program, which if I was an agent, I would at least be familiar with it, so I know it's a tool that I can use and talk to people about. I would go in here and I'd read through everything that's on here and I'd do all the trainings. So once you sign up, once you sign up on the website, you'll get a dashboard and it will have all the trainings in it. So you might as well do that, if nothing else, learn more about it. It also has. Back
Can I ask a
here,
question real quick?
yep,
So you said it was a minimum 1-year lease, but then you also said that they could purchase it anytime?
Yeah.
So is it a minimum 1-year lease or is it that they can purchase it anytime?
if they don't purchase the home, they have to be, it's a 1-year lease.
Okay,
After
but
that, they can move
purchase-
out.
They can purchase,
Like 6 months from that.
Yes, anytime, if they at any time decide they want to move forward with the purchase, rates come down to 3%, and they're like, holy cow, I ought to get this house while I got it, and I love living here, and this is the house I want. They can move forward with the purchase at any time. Okay, all right. What was I wanting to show you real quick?
So with them offering cash, is the closing time shorter than the normal 30 days? Like, do they set what they want their closing times to be, or can you speed it up?
Becky, do you know the answer to that? What's your experience been?
Yeah, so they have a minimum of, I think, about 21 days that they want to close. They'll tell you when you submit the offer. I've tried asking them to close shorter or even longer because it would help the tenant be able to get more money to be able to put down as a security deposit. And they are not willing to negotiate their time frame. So it's about 21 days.
What's the security deposit amount, Becky?
It's, I think it's on the website. The last I heard was that it was a certain amount plus first month's rent.
Fairly normal, I guess.
So if you
Yeah,
have-
it's a fairly normal one. Yeah,
yeah, like if there's things on there, like if you have a pet, it's $300 plus $30.
right.
There
Mhm.
is, a fee for the utility setup, and there's a $10
Yeah.
a month for that, plus what you pay for utilities.
Heather, a question. Can
Yeah,
you hear me?
yep.
I wondered, do these home partners, do they work with people that have ITINs or do they have need to have a social security?
I don't know the answer to that. I can find out. Becky, do you know? They work with some,
I'm not sure.
Okay,
I think their process is similar to what you would do if you had an ITIN number and you wanted to rent a place. But
Oh, I see.
that's just a guess on my part.
so I
Um,
better contact them maybe?
Yeah.
Yes, like Heather said, and I can too, because I'm curious. I need to
All
find
right.
out too.
yeah, let me
But yeah,
find out about that. Is this Luke's? Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna do the program guides, home partners, because I want to show you the extensive list to familiarize yourself with on property qualifications, and mostly there's a lot of HOA stuff in here. So our approved areas, so our Salt Lake value is up to 600. So they won't buy anything over 600, okay? Eligible property criteria. I'm just gonna read the top ones. Located in an area of our approved communities, which is in the map section. Move-in ready, single-family homes or fee simple townhomes. Traditional sale or for sale by owner. You can use the for sale by owner in this program. No more than our maximum purchase price, which varies by market, which is the 600,000, 2 or more above grade bedrooms on a lot of 2 acres or less. So, it talks about pools. They don't want any pools. All new construction must be 100% complete before you submit it for consideration. Let's see, rental ordinances. You know, this is an investment company. They're gonna buy these homes and, you know, if the people purchase it, great. If they don't, they're investors, okay? So let's not kid ourselves. They're an investment company. So they're gonna want to have homes that, just like your buyers, they want to be able to resell them if they need to. They want to be able to lease them out. They want it in a good area, marketable condition. To put a new tenant in there if your resident decides to move out, right? So they're gonna make sure it's a good home. So here's your disqualifying things. So they don't want a well or a septic system, okay? A dirt driveway or access road, not an approved community, on more than 2 acres of land. That's like a maintenance nightmare, right? Cannot be more than 100 years old, built before 1978 in those certain states. So, okay, so I just want, and then a condo or condominium, and I'm sure that's because, you know, the amount of renters and stuff in some of those becomes a problematic. They don't want to deal with that, right?
So let's say your client does go through with this program and they decide to buy. At that point, do you represent the company as the listing agent?
No.
Or do they have listing agents?
No, they have an agreement. You get paid on the transaction of home partners buying the home. You will
Okay.
not be involved if they buy the home direct from home partners.
Okay,
But if you stay in touch with that buyer or that resident, excuse me, stay in touch with that resident, you're gonna be following up with them. And then when they're getting close to their year mark, you're gonna find out how they're feeling about the home, what their plans are, would they like to look at other homes, right? If they're interested in purchasing, that's another opportunity for you to help them in a different way.
But yeah, the great thing is you get paid when Home Partners buys it, they rent it.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter if they ever buy it or not.
Yeah.
So does Century 21 have a buyer broker agreement that has to be signed by home partners or anything? Something contractual?
Yes,
Make
I'm
sure
sure
we
we
get
do.
paid.
Becky, do we just use our normal buyer broker agreement with home partners?
Home Partners sends you everything, including the buyer broker agreement. And this is where I ran into a couple of problems, is because they write it up themselves. And they send it over.
Yeah, of course. It will.
Yeah, I mean, they obviously they have their lawyers on staff that write it, but they will send the buyer broker agreement over along with the Rep C filled out. And then they have additional addenda that they add to it that they have written themselves.
Becky, what do you mean by problems with that paperwork? Like within the brokerage or with the?
With our brokerage, yeah, it was a couple of brokers ago. He's like, "What is this?" It's like, well, they
we
filled
worked
it
through
out
this.
with
We
their
worked
own with their own lawyers. And
Myself will have any issues.
It is,
yeah, but
yeah.
it's okay.
We've gone through the vetting process of this program.
Mhm.
Okay, so, but if there's questions or you're concerned, then please come to us and let us do some deeper dive for you, but.
Yes.
But we have vetted the program, we went through the growing pains of it already. So it should be good to go. So that makes sense because they're a corporation, they want, they don't help, can you imagine if you're a company and you're working in all 50 states? Because we run into this relocation transactions all the time, right? Where we have specific paperwork that we have to use. And it's them making sure that they've counted out anything they would have a problem with in our normal standard agreements, right? So if they're gonna work in multiple states, they don't want to have to review every single contract. That would be a nightmare. That would be trying to check, make sure that this doesn't come, you know, I mean, it just isn't even feasible. It would take 5 days for you to get your contracts back.
Right.
So that's why companies do that. They've had an attorney build it for Utah specifically. That's why you'll see different state situations in here because different states require different things. But in general, I don't know, can you see value in this program?
Absolutely.
Is there any other questions? Because I think we can get on here early.
Yeah, I think we can. Just one thought I had as you're talking, Heather, is I know that just even myself, I've got a handful of buyers that I'm working with right now that are kind of dragging their feet purchasing. I think this would be a great option for them, right? Like they're renting and they're miserable in their apartment, but I could probably get them into a house.
Yeah, if
You get paid.
I mean, I've been looking, my brother is looking to move out of my basement, which is fantastic, but
Right?
you know, it's I've been looking at rentals and there's not a ton out there for 2,500, you know, like
Yeah.
I started looking and I'm like, wow, like if you want a house, a single family home. It's pretty pricey out there and there's not a lot of options either. So this is just an option for people that it works for. So make sure you familiarize yourself with the fees, make sure you understand how the program works, make sure that the resident that's considering it goes through and does their due diligence before they even apply. Because it is $75 if they decide they don't want to use the program, they're out that fee. I'm just really blunt about that. And the 620 score is what we found out is the score they need.
Yeah, and one final thing, Home Partners really wants the agent to go through that training videos.
Mhm.
Okay, because you can't just call your client and say, yeah, go ahead, because they'll go to Home Partners and they'll log on and they'll say, yeah, I want to do it, but they won't end up going to you. They might come to me or somebody else that has taken the video training courses. So you want to be sure to take those first.
Right.
And then, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
One thing that, and I haven't yet had a problem with it because I can kind of explain why. Home Partners wants the seller to close with their title company.
Well, because yeah, it's a cash transaction, so it has to close at one place and they're probably
Yeah.
trying to streamline their process.
Yeah. And I've had a couple of pushbacks, but I've explained why. And they're not real thrilled about it, but they do end up, it does work out.
And the why.
Go
Because
ahead.
the closing documents that, you know, all the company documents that are required to be sent to title, all that stuff is already with their title company. Everything that they need to
Mhm.
process, the understanding, all of that is already with their preferred title company, right? Is that
Yeah. And just so you know, and I'll be quiet after this. I did have one transaction where the tenant pulled out during the transaction. They said, yeah, the money we thought we were going to get isn't going to come in. I didn't get the raise I thought I was going to get, so I don't want to go forward with this transaction. I called Home Partners and I said, what do you want to do? And they said, well, we're just going to continue with the transaction. We'll just buy the house. But just let the tenant know that they will no longer be able to qualify for Home Partners because they had backed out twice during the transaction.
Yeah, because I was thinking.
And so,
Around to buy a bunch of homes.
Yeah.
yeah, so they will go forward and do it, and you still get your commission, and if that all works out, they'll still move forward,
We could,
even if the tenant decides they don't want to do this anymore and they back out.
This is a bad idea. I think they'll figure it out when all Century 21 agents are buying properties.
Yeah.
In the
That's
back.
great. Whatever is no longer qualified.
Yeah.
Becky, thank you for being on the call. I really appreciate your feedback.
Yes.
I'm really.
Sorry.
There first, right?
You're welcome.
Sorry, guys, before we go, is there a phone for Becky that she might be willing to share?
For what?
A phone for Becky Rodriguez?
Oh, yeah. Becky, do you want to share your phone number with us?
555-12.
801. Can I share it?
She's
I
like-
mean, she's listed.
she's
Yeah.
like,
What about on the
she's
other
thinking about it.
Sorry, I lost the thing for half a second. Yeah, I just said it in the chat,
Oh,
but
thank
for
you.
those that didn't see it, it's 801-499-7422.
Thank you.
And if you guys get a client and you know, you've gone through all of that and you get somebody and they're serious, and they want to move forward, I can walk it through with you, and you don't have to worry about paying me anything, but I can walk it through with you. So, and answer your questions, because that was my problem. I had to learn it all on my own because no one else had done it before. So I had to call Home Partners all the time to get the process. So I'm like, oh, okay, that's what's next. That's what's next. That's what's next. So, yeah.
So, all right, well,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. I think we're good to go. I appreciate you coming up. It was nice to see some faces here today. Come to our next one. We'll always have good tools for you.
Yep, thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks, onliners. Looks like we had way more online than in person,
Yeah.
but it's all good.
Like it's gonna be hot, but